And we're back with another episode of What's Hockey. So a little bit delayed. I've been under the weather recently, but hey, I'm here for y'all.
Guy
Keaton,
doesn't know what vitamin C is.
man, I'm trying. Keaton, as we do every week, we go around that hockey. So let's toss it over to you.
Kind of a big week. Quite a few things have happened. It looks like Anthony Richard or Richard, I don't know, who knows when you're potentially French. Keandre Miller's skate hit him in the face. No injury, but, it is good to see that, like, as far as where the NHL is going, as far as putting a face mask, I mean, that's going to save you. So, I
Yeah,
mean, just having a visor is okay, but like if you're just rolling out there like Jamie Benn, I mean, you're just asking to get slashed.
I
I don't
mean,
know. That's just
there's a reason you're not even allowed to do it anymore coming into the league. Jamie's grandfathered in to the clause where you don't have to wear a visor at all. But I mean, when you see instances like this, you're almost wishing that they had a full cage, and I don't think a full cage will ever happen. But you see players increasingly becoming interested in their own safety, whether it's a full clear visor that covers the whole face. So yeah, almost a
I mean, I
dangerous.
wouldn't mind anything like a football helmet as long as it's like, clear and not obstructive as far as the view is
And I
concerned.
know,
But
yeah, and I know when you look at college, I believe it's required to have full facial protection. And more players are accustomed to that. So the risk of this injury, which it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but that risk would be minimized
I
going
mean,
forward.
it hit him like right here basically, which is pretty scary. It could pop
And it
his
ended
eye
up
out.
being like the boot of the skate rather than the
Yeah.
blade.
It wasn't, yeah,
But I mean, that's
dangerous.
a 3 inch margin of error, so it is good
Yeah.
that Richard or Richard, I think it's Richard, but I ain't gonna lie, I don't know. But it's good that
That
there
was,
wasn't a more serious injury coming out of that.
yeah, yeah. Alex Ovechkin has scored again. I believe he is now 22 goals on this season, which is 20 away from getting that record break. Pretty crazy because I think every single season he's ever had has been 20 goals or more, which crazy player anyway. But yeah, he's looking to get them. It looks like most of at least the later goals he's scored have been empty netters. So it kind of feels like the team is trying to get him to get that as soon as possible, which, it makes sense. But, just throw him out there on the empty net and see what happens.
Yeah, and regardless of it, the a recent one or two or whatever being empty netters, I mean, we've seen him throughout the season this year, and it's still remarkable. So yeah,
He's having a
still
great
on it.
season. I mean, he's like 39, and if it weren't for Jaromir Jagr, Ovechkin could be in a league of his own. I think that guy
It's
played till he was like 40 or 50, which is even crazier.
He played for like
So
half the teams in the league too. Like, yeah,
it's
he.
crazy.
Mhm.
But yeah, Uh, Gary Bettman, the commissioner, surprised many, at least me for sure, said that he would be retiring in a few years. A couple years, I think, is his actual quote. And we got to see if his couple is actually just two or, just a few, or, maybe he's just going to say that and never leave. Because we all know he's just one of those money grubbing goblins.
Yeah,
And just tries to get as much money as possible. So it'd be pretty crazy for him not to milk that job.
yeah, I'm definitely a little skeptical about that. He is 72, so I mean, like, I bet you there's probably a little pressure from some owners saying like, "Hey, we got to start looking at other alternatives." So to get ahead of it, he's like, "All right, don't worry, I'll retire in a few years to satisfy them right now." But yeah, if you're 72, man, this is probably the last time you're in a position of this much power. I can imagine him extending that potential 2 years to three, three to four, and then finally having to be forced out.
Might as well be, have to get killed to get out.
Jesus.
Someone just pull a Luigi Mangione on him.
Okay, all right. Let's keep moving. Next topic.
So we've got Jacob Markstrom is out for 4 to 6 weeks or so. He sprained his MCL in a 5-1 win against the Bruins. Justin Brazo unfortunately hit him, and yeah, he's just gonna have to be on his own on the injury list. Jake Allen will look to fend off any more pucks going forward, and I believe they'll probably pull up like an AHL affiliate or something. But yeah, be pretty interesting because he is going to miss basically the remaining schedule, if not right before or during the Four Nations face-off. And I believe he's already been replaced. I can't remember who they replaced him with, but he's just not going to be able to make it. I believe for Team Canada? No, Sweden. Sorry, Don.
Yeah, I should have had that pulled Swedish. Up. My fault.
But yeah, it kind of sucks. And I believe he's the Devils, right?
Markstrom is for why? What the heck? Yeah, Devils. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
For half a second, I was thinking Calgary. I know he was there for a bit, but yeah, he's in New Jersey right now. And they replaced him with Samuel Ersson from Philadelphia.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's surprising because the Flyers are trash. But anyway, big blockbuster trade. Mikko Rantanen is now a member of the Hurricanes, which is pretty surprising because there's a lot of news coming out after the fact that he mentioned that he would have taken a pay cut for staying with the Avs, and the Avs just basically just dropped the ball. I don't know. I don't really know what happened there, but they ended up shipping the Carolina Canes end up shipping what's his name, Martin Necas and Jack Drury to Colorado in return for Mikko Rantanen. And for whatever reason, Chicago's in the mix and sent Taylor Hall to Carolina in exchange for a third-round pick. I believe it was 25. Yeah. And for whatever reason, Chicago will retain Rantanen's salary 50%, which doesn't make any sense.
From what I understand, they would be saving money taking a piece of Rantanen, taking that 50% of Rantanen's salary, while also getting rid of Hall. They save some money in that exchange. And then it also allows them to have some more cap leeway going forward as they try to rebuild their team. Hall is, a veteran, great leader, former MVP, but he is older. And so I think they're looking for a little bit more cap relief and then also draft picks, of course.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens out of that third rounder. But I don't know. The Blackhawks seem to be going downhill for a minute.
Yeah, and also in addition to Drury and Necas going to Colorado, they also got a second round pick and a fourth round pick. The second round is in 2025, fourth in 26. Chicago ended up getting a prospect in that exchange as well. But I think
Carolina getting that prospect from Chicago.
Was it which acquired Chicago? Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Yeah, I read that. Nils Jundrop or Jundrop. Man, people are making up names. But yeah, I think I know
names. Those don't exist.
Rantanen said that he would take the pay cut, I think, but a lot of the speculation is that really isn't the case, that he was expected to become a top five. No. He wanted to be the highest paid winger, I thought. And essentially, Colorado didn't want to go back and forth on negotiations. They weren't going to top.
Especially with the Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar to worry about as well as far as cap space.
Yeah, so for them, I guess it was just easier to go ahead and move on from Rantanen, which is crazy, man. That is quite a talented player. There's, God, again, I forget which member of the front office in Carolina who said it, but they were basically saying, we've had an incredible amount of talented players, but none have touched Rantanen's level. And so to add that to an already deep and good team, that's crazy.
Yeah. looks to add with Sebastian Aho and who's that other guy? Seth Jarvis, is that a guy?
Jarvis
But
is
anyway,
there. Yeah, Jarvis is there.
yeah,
And
cool.
damn,
I know stuff.
yeah. What
I
was the
know
guy's
people.
name? Who was the guy who scored two against Dallas? Why am I blanking on that guy's name?
I don't know.
God, dog. All right, forget it. Just ignore me. Keep moving. Move on. Move on.
We got Anthony Stolars has resumed skating. He may be back soon within the next couple of games, which is great because I believe Toronto is still at the top of their division. So, get to hold it off a bit longer with Stolars coming back. Looking to get healthy by the break for the Four Nations face-off, if not before it. So, he'll have some extended rest anyway, regardless, just because of that break. But yeah, it should be good for them. But the Islanders inked D-man Tony DeAngelo for a 1-year deal. At the time, it was undisclosed. I'm not sure if they disclosed it after the fact, but for the amount of how much he played for or is going to be playing for. Definitely in response to Noah Dobson's injury being week to week or day to day or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the Islanders also make a trade with the St. Louis Blues, getting Scott Perunovich and in exchange for a conditional fifth rounder in the 26th draft. So yeah, they're both defensemen. So like I mentioned, just totally in response of Noah Dobson's absence, and
Yeah.
Dobson's been playing really well since he's been drafted. So it just makes sense to try to replace him, even though they really can't, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Carolina forward William Carrier has been placed on long-term IR. He's been day-to-day for a few games, and looks like he'll probably be back at the end of the season, if not for playoffs. But, Carolina seems to be good, especially with that blockbuster trade. And, they've got Rantanen and Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho and that one dude that Rudy can't figure out. So, yeah, they look pretty good. Will Borgen ends up signing a 5-year deal with, oh shit, I don't even know where he got signed to.
Borgen. Damn.
Yeah, Rangers? Yeah, the Rangers.
Yeah.
There you go. He signs a 5-year deal, probably in response to getting rid of Trouba. They want to, keep at least one guy. They've got Will Borgen now. So, yeah, after being acquired from the Kraken, he's looking to call the Rangers home. I believe that was earlier this year. So,
Mm.
yeah, pretty good.
Okay, it was the
Next
guy I
up,
was thinking of
oh,
was
go
either
ahead.
Svechnikov or Kakaniemi. Both
Nice, dude.
good players. I forget which one had the
They're solid
two
players.
goals against the Stars, but yeah. Anyways,
It was
yeah, one of
probably
those two.
Kotkaniemi.
Uh, Damn. All right, I'm just gonna pull it up right quick. It was Kakaniemi.
Good
Okay,
job. Thank you. That's what I said. All right. So we've got
you're welcome.
Logan Thompson being re signed to a 6-year, $35.1 million contract. Capitals goalie has been pretty solid and will look to help out Charlie Lindgren for the foreseeable future.
Yep,
So, yeah,
dude.
they were
I
basically tied with Comrie and Hellebuck for goals against and save percentage. So it's, they've got a pretty solid tandem.
I mean, every time we've played them, I like to not always say that like our I don't want to pretend that our offense is flawless and every goalie's just standing on their head stopping us, but no, they've made some great saves against us this year. I won't pretend like I remember exactly who was in net, but I know that they've in the two games that we've played them, they've had some solid performances and made saves that I thought for sure were going
Yeah,
in
and
the
I know
net.
I've seen like a few videos of Charlie Lindgren just laying all out, trying to like catch a puck that's all the way over there or something.
Yeah.
So he's been playing pretty well.
Hmm.
So yeah, we've got Kirill Kaprizov having a surgery for a lower body injury, whatever that could be. Ends up leaving. Yeah, well, I don't know. What is it? 4 to 6 weeks, probably. Who knows?
At
But he
least I
returned
think.
from a 12-game absence and went on like a 3 game stretch only to potentially just re-injure his previous injury. Not exactly sure what happened because obviously it's just a lower body injury and
Mhm.
they won't say anything else. But yeah,
Which is
the
wild,
Wild
man.
look like
Like
a shoe in for the playoffs. So
it's a full
sorry, what?
surgery, and you don't even know what they're operating on, which is nuts. But
Yeah,
yeah, dude, the Wild have looked real. We talked about them throughout this season, and which honestly, at the beginning of the year, we were very surprised that we were talking as much Wild as we were. But a Kaprizov or Kaprizov, I swear I don't. You say Kaprizov, right? I think it's
that's
Capri. I
what
don't know.
I heard. I heard an announcer say Kaprizov, so that's where it is.
Okay, but regardless, that man has had a great year this year, so that is a tough
Yeah,
loss for
he had
that
like 20. He
extended.
was leading goals for like the first maybe 4 5 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know,
that's a tough one.
but he was like the first one to 20. So sucks.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
I mean, hopefully he'll get back before playoffs start happening because they, like I said, they should be a shoe in for the playoffs anyway. Even if they drop down to a wild card spot, if if that even happens. But they ended up taking a win last night, and I thought they'd lose because of this Kaprizovless roster. So playing pretty well without him, regardless. And
Right now, it
looks
looks
like
like there's
oh,
still. I'm sorry, I was just gonna add to it. It looks like the wild card, the second wild card, is 8 points behind them with one extra game to be played. So they do, still have a good cushion there. And I would expect them to maintain that. As big as he's been, there have been other contributors that have produced for them. So I don't think, it's the end of the world. I think they should
I
be able to
also feel
hold
like
on.
the Western Conference is a lot less competitive than the Eastern Conference because it feels
Uh,
like with Montreal, Detroit, even the Blue Jackets are in fighting for a wild card spot, and the Bruins are still up there too. So I mean, there's just a lot of
I
potential
don't.
competition that could be into
The
the
two
wild
wild
card
card
spots.
teams right now are the Avalanche and Vancouver. I mean that's no slouch, and they can't even get in the top three of their
Well,
individual.
Vancouver's been playing like shit these past month, two
They've
months.
got
I
their
don't know.
issues. I know we'll touch on some of their stars fighting, but that's tough, man. But yeah, continue, sir.
Yeah, like he had mentioned, looks like Jim Rutherford, the Canucks president, has confirmed a rift between JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, the more veteran Elias Pettersson, because I know there's another guy that happens to be his same name. Direct
Yeah,
quote from Mr. Rutherford: everybody has worked on it, including the parties involved, but it only gets resolved for a short period of time and then it festers again. So it certainly appears like there's not a good solution that would keep this group together. So I would assume that there's probably going to be a trade happening soon, or maybe even a waiver. Who knows? It all really depends on what would probably save them the
I,
most money and what would be the best option for them in the long
that
term. But
yeah, I imagine the
yeah,
trade is definitely where they're going to be looking to,
for
especially.
sure. I
And
mean,
I don't know their individual contracts. Trade clauses
it'd
can
also be
absolutely
interesting
hinder
to
it.
see like what teams would bite on a player that could potentially cause some issues as well.
Yeah, I think you definitely would have to be kind of a veteran led team where you can maintain that, like that person wouldn't come to the locker room and ruin the chemistry that you have going on.
Yeah.
Not that I'm advocating for him to come to Dallas, but I do think like having Ben Sagan, I think that like that's the kind of team you're looking at, a good team, potential playoff contender that has some veteran leadership and presence that can assist in that transition.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? They'll get traded. Whether it's JT Miller or Elias Pettersson. But yeah, I mean, they've been slipping, and it may not even look like they'll even make the playoffs. I mean, like he's mentioned, they took up the wild card spot, but they were out of the wild card spot like a couple games ago, maybe 3 weeks. Oh,
Mhm.
not that long, because games aren't determined by weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's just been pretty long that they've been out of the playoffs. I mean, at the start of the season, they've been playing pretty well, but this mid chunk of the season has been pretty abysmal for their organization.
For sure.
And I mean, they've got, I believe, 50. Well, hold on, let me take a look. Yeah, they've got 56 points on 50 games played, and that's just barely above 500. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, it's not awful, and it's not like it's. I mean, when it comes to the wild card, man, like, it's definitely not over. You can do it, but
It's pretty soft competition just because the Flames and the Colorado Avalanche are like the only two other teams that are around that same points for the year.
It's really the Flames to me that can get that wild card spot. Other than that, I don't.
Yeah,
think...
because I mean, I don't think the hockey club is
I
anywhere
agree.
close to getting back up there, and
like they're
maybe
only
they have a good
6
stretch,
points
but
off. Like, it's absolutely possible. Like, mathematically, there's nowhere. They're nowhere near eliminated, right? But just watching them play, I don't have that faith.
It's not like they're the Sharks or the Blackhawks.
Right.
So, the only two teams to be under 40 points this far in the season. Pretty gross.
Wild.
But anyway, we've got Brandon Saad or Sad.
Saad? I think it's Saad. I think that's how you say that name.
Could be Sad. He's sad. Has been waived. He's pretty sad about that. Definitely getting waived from the team that just recently waived him, St. Louis Blues. And he's out of a job, terminated. He doesn't want to be, or rather the team doesn't want to pay him anymore, doesn't want to deal with him anymore. He's 32. He's not too old, but I saw like a graph where like his like average was like that, and then this year was like a full-on slant down. So definitely doesn't look good this year, and I think he only scored goals in 3 games, and in those 3 games he had 2 2-pointers and then a hat trick, which is like crazy because like when he does score, he's scoring like a fuck ton, but he's only scored in 3 out of 50 games. That's crazy.
It's just not consistent.
So,
and Jim Montgomery is
just not up to par.
Right.
The great news: Hockey Club may potentially no longer be the Hockey Club. They have a few names circulating and have beckoned fans to come vote. They are crossed between 3 different teams, which unfortunately includes the Hockey Club as a name.
Yeah, it's really just 2 options.
Doesn't make sense.
So ridiculous.
But they've got the Utah Wasatch and then the Utah Mammoth.
Yes,
which I like the Mammoth. Mm-hmm. I think that's a pretty good name, but it would be pretty nice if it was a plural mammoths. They've got each individual player as a mammoth. It just kind of seems like the team itself is a mammoth, which does make sense, but it just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it goes along the same logic as the Kraken, and the Kraken almost sounds better than Krakens because it's mythologically like one big Kraken.
Yeah.
But there were mammoths, like mammoths roamed the earth.
There were multiple mammoths. There wasn't just one.
There were families of them, and so yeah, man. And then the other one's a mountain range, right? Wasatch.
Yeah, it's just the Wasatch.
I guess it's all right. I don't mind it. I like things that are connected. They
unfortunately had a feud with Yeti, the cooler brand. Could not coexist, apparently. So they could not be the Utah Yeti. Which, again, why wouldn't you be called the Yetis? But whatever.
Well, because mythologically, isn't it just one Yeti in the mountain?
What?
What?
There's more than one mountain in the world. You think there's just one Yeti in one mountain ever?
Every region has their own version of the Yeti, but it's never...
Multiple Yetis, then. There you go.
Well, they call it different... Well, no, but it's not... The idea of Utah calling it Yeti isn't because the Himalayas have their own behemoth of a monster in the mountains.
There's multiple Yetis.
Okay.
There's too many Yetis to count.
Everyone's always like, oh, I saw the Yeti. I saw the Yeti. No one ever says, I saw a family of Yetis.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, you don't have to. Because it's always some
anyway.
dude dressed in a costume anyway, but there's multiple
Anyway.
people that are doing that in these moments.
Mammoths should be pluralized, for sure. And that would be my vote as well. I wouldn't mind Wasatch just for the regionality part of
Just
it.
hope it's not Utah Hockey Club. That's all I care about.
Please, God, yeah. Get that out of here.
And I hope their logo looks pretty good too. Or at least, I mean, the color scheme isn't that bad, but I mean, at least have some sense of like
I
a
think
change.
I think like with being the mammoths too, you can do some cool things with the tusks being like the featured part of the logo. I think it would look
Jerseys.
pretty cool. I I don't
Yeah.
know. Utah has the Jazz, and behind the Jazz logo is like a mountain range, and I don't want their hockey team to just be a mountain range. You know what I mean?
It's all they care about. What else is there in Utah?
Mormons.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah, it's just
But
table
anyway,
salt.
it's
Anyway,
just a lake with salt in it. But anyway, the Red Wings played 3 games, even with this extended week. They'll play tonight, which will eventually happen. But yeah, we played the Canadians, and we ended up taking a pretty solid win, winning 4-2 with, I believe we got an empty netter. If not, then we just held off. But we definitely got a shorthanded goal, and it was thanks to, I believe, Andrew Kopp. Yeah, he breaks away. It was just some bad passing. I can't remember who exactly it was. Maybe it was Lane Hudson, but he like passed it or tried to shoot it and it blocked it and it just, shot off toward the Canadians' goal, and Andrew Kopp had the best beat on it and was one-on-one with the goalie, ended up getting the nice one-timer. So we ended up winning. It was a solid effort, great games, especially with the end of that, I think it was 3 games losing streak, just kind of a bad, rough patch. We ended up playing the Lightning, which was another great game. Albert Johansson played his ass off. He had 7 block shots. He was just everywhere for the defense. And I think Todd McClellan has been praising him as well. So he's definitely going to get a lot more playing time and is definitely going to be helping Mo Sider out because he's basically been the only defender that's been playing well. And yeah, pretty great rookie play for the defenseman. And Marco Casper ends up getting our first goal for that game, ends up doing like some redirect and kind of passing it in between his own legs just to bounce it into the goal. And pretty nice. And we ended up shutting them out, which was also nice because, can't
yeah.
have them score.
Shutouts are always nice, man.
Unfortunately, yeah, Kucherov was a little bitch. He pushed, I think it was JT Comfer, or no, Rasmussen. He pushes him into the net. Like he gets a easy beat and, shoots an empty netter, but on his way trips him and then forces him into the net and had to get helped off the ice and everything. He's just a dirty player. Didn't have to
What
do
a
that at all.
jerk.
So more
Just a
like
jerk.
Kucherov. But anyway,
Nice.
got Talbot with the shutout, pretty nice, and we ended up playing the Kings, which is a revenge game for Todd McClellan because that was the most recent team that fired him. And we ended up taking the win. We ended up getting an empty netter for a 5-2 win, which was pretty big. It was pretty bad because Mo Sider ends up getting the own goal for the Kings, and it was 0-2 pretty early on, but we ended up scoring 5 straight and shutting them out for the rest of the game. So pretty
Nice.
solid effort and just great overall effort. And we've just been a completely different team than the last month, and even that 3-game losing streak kind of made me feel like we are in a rut still. But hey, we're coming up on the Oilers in Edmonton today, which I believe we should take that win, or at least beat the spread. And then we take the Flames in Calgary and the Canucks in Vancouver, and then the Kraken in Seattle. I think we're just going to go 3-1, potentially losing to the Flames in Calgary just because. Yeah, should be a pretty solid effort for our team for the next 4 games. We do have, unfortunately, an injury bug, much like our NFL compatriot. We've got Patrick Kane on IR, Tarasenko's been baked up, and JT Compher missed his last game. So just hopefully we can get this shit on lock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And on the flip side, the Dallas Stars played a few games. Now, in total transparency, I've been out of commission since like last Thursday. So there are some games that I did not see, whether I was in dire need of rest or I did make a trip to the doctors for a little bit. So that also kept me from watching some games. But since we last recorded on Wednesday, we played the Golden Knights twice and played the Blues in between those games, and we went 3-0. I believe that I predicted one loss to the Golden Knights. I thought I said we would split that, and then of course beat the Jim Montgomery led Blues. But we go ahead and take care of business all three. The Blues game and the first Knights game, those are the two I don't have complete. I didn't watch it, man. I was completely out of it. But the more recent Knights game in Vegas, Tuesday night, I was able to watch that one. And it started horrendously because it was 3-0. I'm pretty sure it was 3-0.
Nice.
Or no, I'm sorry. It was 2-1 and then 3-1. But nice, dude, Wyatt Johnson, my God, he gets a hat trick. He scored a shorthanded goal, which was direly needed in that moment. So we go down. They have a 2-man advantage, 5-on-3. They score one. It's it's a 5-on-4 now, and then Wyatt goes ahead and gets a shorthanded goal, and then we shut down the remainder of that power play. So we were already down a goal. When it was a 2-man advantage, I was so fearful. They're going to score and then score again. And we ended up coming out of that 2-man advantage still just down 1 goal, which is unbelievable, man. And then in overtime, Wyatt Johnson goes ahead and gets the winner like within the first minute, or was it? It was very quick. I mean, it was awesome to see, though, the young guy.
35 seconds, maybe?
It was within that.
It was actually 20 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say it was super quick. And Rope Hintz, that's within the first minute, if I'm not wrong. Rope Hintz had himself a good game as well. Made some, I believe he got 3 assists, not all 3, but he got 3 assists in that game.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, considering that at some points during the season, Rope was kind of struggling. Then he had an injury. To see how he's playing right now was very promising. And then Wyatt has had some stretches where he's not scoring. He's been spreading his facilitator wings this year, which is good to see. But I also need some pucks in the net, and he went ahead and took care of business in Vegas, where, I mean, he's done it before in game 3 or game 4 in the playoffs last year in Vegas. He hits the game winner in OT. It was a long game. I think that was the one that like started at 9 and ended at like almost like 12:30 or something last year. So Wyatt,
wasn't it like 1 a.m. or something?
It probably was approaching 1. So yeah, no, Wyatt Johnson, I guess whenever he's in Vegas, the young man's feeling it. He was clutch for us, takes care of business. So we go 3-0 over the last week. The biggest news, though, the non-fun news is Miro Heiskanen getting absolutely nailed in the knee from a flying Mark Stone. There is...
One could say he was tripped.
Dog, I can't stand that. Like, yeah, okay, so Rope Hintz does stick out his stick, and it hits Mark Stone in the foot. Mark Stone tumbles a bit, but you see his body leap at the
Mark
knee.
Stone is probably what, like 250 pounds, at least with all of his gear. How is a stick gonna stop that?
Yeah, no, and the thing too, man, it's so I think sometimes I think on the nicest way to say it, it's reckless because you could say, all right, he's still trying to make a play on the puck, and I think that's kind of a lot of what people were excusing, that he was tripped and then he's just trying to make a play. You're already tripped and you're not going to reach that puck, and then you lurch yourself out and then leap, kind of leap, hop leap uh, at
He's like
at
200
Miro's
pounds.
knee. You're not going to reach the puck. So it was completely reckless. It was disgusting. To me, it was extremely dirty. But you do have some people saying, no, he was tripped and no, he's just trying to make a play. Get out of here, man. Like, we've all tried to. I was about to say we've all tried to make plays, not specifically in that sport, of course, because I don't even know how to skate. But I mean, we've played football, we've played basketball, soccer. We've all tried to make plays, and sometimes there's some unintentional incidents that occur. But not to me, that's not what occurred on the ice on Tuesday night. To me, it was just dirty from Mark Stone, regardless of the contact to his skate. I mean, he just takes out literally our best defender, a massive piece of what the Dallas Stars are. And the only I haven't seen news on it. The only hope is that it's minor. I think the feeling is it is somewhat minor because you haven't seen Finland replace him yet, and you haven't heard like news of, okay, yeah, he's going to need a surgery or something, and this was 2 days ago. So it is
Yeah.
appearing
I
that
mean,
it's
he did
not.
helped off the ice and such, so
Yeah, and he wasn't putting
who
weight on
knows
it,
how
but
bad it
he.
is.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there have been cases where, and this isn't the same injury, but you've seen basketball players like Kobe Bryant gets hurt, takes a free throw, walks off the court, and then it turns out he tore his Achilles, you know? So, I mean, adrenaline could have been pumping. So, I mean, he was helped off, but he did push off a little bit with that leg. It wasn't a real push off, I guess. Maybe it was more for balance, and maybe it was all adrenaline, but
Good analytical skills, dog.
thanks, man. The one thing I don't want to do is be definitively wrong. And so, yeah, no,
You're wrong.
I think he'll be okay. That was a long ramble on that, so apologies. But going into this upcoming week before we record again, we go ahead and play tomorrow against the Canucks here in Dallas. We host Columbus Sunday. And then our next game after that will be Tuesday. I think we'll be recording next Wednesday, so I'll go ahead and say that for tomorrow's game against the Canucks, I think they're in disarray. I'll say that we go ahead and win that one. Columbus, yeah, no. Sunday games, I don't know why I feel weird about that. Like, I feel weird that a Sunday at 5
Columbus is
o'clock.
going to beat y'all.
They're not, though, because I'm going to go ahead and predict victory there, and I'm never wrong. And then next Tuesday,
Ohio's
we go
the
ahead.
best place in the world.
Yeah, we go ahead and travel to Anaheim to take on the Ducks at 9:30 at night. I'm going to say that's an odd trap game. There's no reason for me to believe that our roster will lose compared to their roster. But teams lose games they shouldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and predict a loss in Anaheim. That game is just way late. We're not used to that, and it's on the road. And it'll be the beginning of a road trip as we'll be playing against the Kings and the Sharks over there. And then we go to New Jersey and New York. So we're going to be out for a while. I think we'll probably, kind of take it easy, easing into that road trip. So yeah, 2-1 is my prediction. Now, Keaton, every week we be picking some games. We go against the spread. Last week we had 4 games to pick from. We only picked different in one game. You went 1-3. I went 2-2. Your the standings now for the year is you at 45-41, and I'm at 40-46. Gradual gain, that's fine with me. Can't make it all up in 1 week. Well, it's possible, but not attempting to intentionally, at least. But so this week, though, Keaton, we got 10 games to pick from. We got Winnipeg in Boston. Spreading that one's Boston plus 1.5. Who are you taking there?
I'm going to take the Jets because the Bruins are ass, and last week they hoed me.
Yeah, I'm going Jets there as well, so clean sweep for them. Next game, it is Wild and Canadiens. Some would say those are synonyms. It is a -1.5 to the hometown Canadiens. Who are you taking there?
I'm gonna take the Canadians in this one. Lane Hudson and Patrick Laine look pretty good, and the Wild are Kaprizovless, so
Yeah,
could potentially add into the mix.
Montreal, man, they've been on a good streak of games. So I'm going to go with the Canadians as well in that one. Yeah, -1.5. Moving on. We got the Capitals and the Senators in a battle of the political names, I guess. We're going to
Come on,
go, and
Todd.
that one's in Ottawa, and it's Senators -1.5. Who are you taking there?
I'm gonna take the Capitals because the Senators have shown some stuff, but it's just not enough. The Capitals are too, I guess, just a complete team. I mean, they've got a solid goalie tandem. They've got some great scorers on offense. So yeah, Chikrin, yeah,
Yeah, clean sweep on that one
etc.
as well. It could be close, but give them a goal and a half, and I'm taking the Capitals there. Kings and Lightning in Tampa Bay. It's Lightning -1.5. Who do you have in that one?
I'm taking the Lightning in this one. They both teams have hit kind of a slump. I mean, the Kings have been looking pretty weird as of late the last couple weeks. So I'm gonna take the home team in this one.
And unfortunately, it's going to be a clean sweep. I only say unfortunately because I do want to make ground up, and I don't like always picking who you're picking. But yeah, that one to me isn't too
Yeah, dog.
difficult. Although the Kings, man, not too bad. But yeah, I think Lightning there.
They're not terrible.
Blackhawks are traveling to Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. Spreading that one. This is the first time I have seen this. The spread is -2.5 to Carolina. Who are you taking? I've never seen the 2.5.
That is interesting, but I am still going to take the Canes. Chicago, like I mentioned, are one of the two teams still under 40 points this season. Sharks being the other.
Yeah, and I think, of course, we talked about that trade earlier, losing some of that veteran presence. I think is also going to affect them. Two
I
and a
mean, Bedard's
half, man.
good, but he's just not good enough to be playing the whole time, all 60 minutes, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and we've talked about Carolina's already impressive roster. Then you go ahead and you add Mikko Rantanen. I think they do cover and win that one by 3. Wow, I can't believe that. Moving on, the Islanders are traveling to Philly, taking on the Flyers. Spreading that one is Philly +1.5. Who are you taking there?
I'm taking the Islanders. The Flyers have been mediocre at best.
I'm gonna go with the Flyers, man. I'm feeling the hometown team to go ahead and take that extra goal and a half and take care of business for your boy. Uh, yeah. Moving on, we got the Ducks. They'll be traveling to Calgary, taking on the Flames. Spreading that one is -1.5 to Calgary. Keaton, who you taking?
I'm taking the Ducks in this one. Torrey Terry should make it happen.
Dude, I thought I was gonna get one right there. Uh, you know what? I said I wasn't gonna pick the opposite just because you pick one team, but I am right now because I'm gonna take the Flames. I think as
You thought you were
anyone,
gonna pick the Ducks in this one?
I was actually, but I want to gain a little bit
That's-
of ground. And as anyone who's ever been in a kitchen knows, Flames plus Ducks equals good cuisine, but a roasted duck nonetheless.
Excuse you?
It's good food. All right, Red Wings
All right.
and Oilers. This is in Edmonton. Spread in that one is -1.5. Who are you taking there?
The bleak landscapes of Edmonton will not deter Detroit from winning this game.
Mm. I will say I'll take the bleak landscapes. Give me Edmonton to go ahead and
Trash.
take care of business. Don't like that I'm giving up a goal and a half, but whatever. All right, Blue Jackets, Golden Knights. Both teams with double names to for their mascots. This is in Vegas. Spreading that one is -1.5 to Vegas. Who are you taking there?
Old colored objects. I'm taking the Golden Knights, even with Mark Stone targeting these.
Yeah, I think that might benefit him actually. Give me Golden Knights as well in that one. And lastly, the San Jose Sharks traveling to Seattle, taking on the Kraken. Spreading that one is Kraken -1.5. Who are you taking there?
I'm taking the Sharks in this one. The Kraken have been abysmal, and that +1.5 is going to be pretty nice for Macklin Celebrini.
That is a clean sweep for the San Jose Sharks, as we will both be taking them. We always end our podcast with some prize picks, Keaton. Last time around, I did not get mine right because I predicted, was it Varlamov? I forget exactly how to say his last name. But I picked the under on his points, and he got a point. So L for
Classic.
me. This week will be different.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to help me with his last name because I forget how it's pronounced. But is it Thomas Cabot or is it Chabot? That's so different on pronunciations. And I should
It's
know.
probably Chabot.
Well, I'm taking his over on his time on ice, over 23.5. And then I'm also
He's not gonna do
taking
it.
Tyler Toffoli's Green Goblin over 1.5 shots on goal.
That's nice. I had a pretty depressing outing for my choice last week for prize picks. Werenski held through. He definitely had less than 27 minutes time on ice, which is crazy anyway. But Hamilton, that little bitch, Dougie Hamilton, got 3 shots on goal out of the 2.5 allotted for him, and I took his under. He's a defender. He shouldn't be scoring. He's just a loser. I don't know what to tell
He's
you.
a loser.
But anyway, I'm going to roll with a couple better picks this time. We've got Old Faithful and Mo Sider taking more than 24.5 minutes on ice, and Kyle Palmieri getting more than 0.5 hits. So he should get at least one.
All right, nice. Well, we'll see if either of us can get our act together and get some wins. I believe that's everything, Keaton. Is there anything we're missing here?
Should be it. Good week of hockey.
All right. Well, yeah. Everyone take care. Stay safe out there. Peace.